this world. I feel you would be unable or unwilling to perform the duties listed on the safety code.
How much can you know about yourself if you've never been in a fight? I don't want to die without any scars.
A first-time offender can face a fine of up to $1,000 SGD. If the offender is caught again, the fine can be up to $2,000 SGD and a prison term of up to 3 months.
3 pitchers of beer and you still can't ask.
Despite the fight being consensual, the public nature of the event can lead to a charge of affray. This law penalizes fighting in a public place that could cause terror to the public. By throwing the glass bottle on the floor and breaking it, the character would be littering, which is a punishable offense in Singapore under the Environmental Public Health Act.
I don't know how Tyler found that house, but he said he'd been there for a year.
If the house is considered a property, then staying or living in it without permission could be seen as committing criminal trespass, which is a punishable offense under Section 441 of the Penal Code.
What a shithole.
By inviting others to join in the fight, the character and his friend could be seen as instigating an unlawful assembly. In Singapore, an assembly of 5 or more people is considered unlawful if the common intent of the persons in that assembly is to commit an offense.
All right, man.
The act of intentionally throwing golf balls at buildings and breaking windows could be classified as vandalism, a fine of up to $2,000 up to 3 years imprisonment, and additionally caning if the property damage is severe.
Every week, Tyler gave the rules that he and I decided.
If this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight.
The character and his friend, by forming a clandestine fight club and inviting others, could face up to 3 years in prison, fines of up to $15,000, or both.
But Rick...
Hemingway.
In Singapore, smoking is prohibited in most indoor locations and certain outdoor public places. If the character is smoking in one of these prohibited areas, he would be violating this act. By throwing the cigarette butt on the street, the character would be littering, which is a punishable offense in Singapore under the Environmental Public Health Act.
Started seeing things different.
If you were to add nitric acid, you got nitroglycerin. If you were then to add sodium nitrile and dash the sawdust, you got dynamite.
The character, by knowingly allowing his friend to manufacture dynamite at his home, may face up to 14 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000 SGD. This scenario highlights the seriousness of abetting a crime, even if one is not directly involved in its commission.
We need to talk. Where to begin? With your constant absenteeism? With your unpresentable appearance? You're up for review. Are you threatening me?
No.
Get the fuck out of here. You're fired. Security?
I am Jack's smirking revenge.
What are you doing? Oh God, no, please, no! Oh, thank God, please don't hit me again.
The character's actions could also be seen as framing an innocent person, which is a serious offense in Singapore.
There's one in Penn's Grove, too. Bob even found one up in Newcastle.
Yeah, did you start that one?
No, I thought you did.
No.
The character, by recklessly damaging car lights with a baseball bat, could be facing up to 8 years in prison, fines of up to $2,000 SGD, and possibly caning. This scenario underscores the hefty legal consequences of vandalism and possession of an offensive weapon in Singapore.
What are we doing?
Homework assignment.
What kind of homework assignment?
Human sacrifice.
Stop, what are you doing? Come on!
Hands behind your back.
God.
Give me your wallet.
Carrying a gun without a valid license is a serious crime in Singapore. The act of taking someone's wallet by force or fear is classified as robbery in Singapore, which will lead to imprisonment for a term which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to caning.
I'm keeping your license.
If the character's friend is intimidating the store owner with the gun, he could be charged with criminal intimidation with a penalty of imprisonment of up to 2 years.
Check in on you. I know where you live.
The character, by infiltrating a restaurant, threatening a person with a knife, and carrying an offensive weapon, could be facing up to 7 years and 3 months in prison, fines of up to $1,500 SGD, and caning.
So many people moving, the house moved.
The character, by unlawfully manufacturing large quantities of dynamite at home with the intent to destroy buildings, may face up to life imprisonment or up to 34 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000 SGD.
Keep him talking. I need to make a phone call.
Stop fighting. You're gonna fuck up. Where's the rubber band?
Get away from me!
While it's not explicitly mentioned that the character hurt the officer, disarming a police officer could be interpreted as causing hurt to deter a public servant from his duty.
Face down on the floor, both of you right now!
The character, by disarming a police officer, escaping from custody, intimidating a police officer, and carrying a firearm without a license, could be facing up to 25 years in prison, a fine, caning, and possibly both for some charges. This scenario underscores the severe legal consequences of such actions in Singapore. That's a wrap, folks. Cinema is a wild ride, but in the real world, every action has a consequence. If you've enjoyed this trip through law and film, there's more where that came from. Hit that subscribe button and join me, your cinema cop, for more legal adventures in the world of film. Remember, in life's theater, we're all playing by the rules. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next case.